Welcome to the Good Old Fashion Masonic Podcast, where we talk. I always have trouble with the word podcast for some reason. What an idiot. The Good Old Fashion Masonic Podcast, where we talk all things Masonic while drinking an old fashioned. I'm Brian.
And I'm Russ.
Russ, the question of the podcast.
All right.
That you may or may not be ready for.
The last one was pretty serious, so...
It was. This, not so much.
Not so much. Okay.
All right.
I'm ready.
Pay attention to Russ's face. He's going to try to lock in on this so he doesn't show any facial expressions. They say one of the leading causes for divorce in the United States is that spouses can't get over pet peeves. So in all seriousness, is there a pet peeve that if somebody lived with you that they had would absolutely drive you nuts?
Pet peeve, somebody just not, yeah. That's
Mine
hard.
is not picking up after yourself. Pick up after your damn self.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I think it's just that's a matter of if they just won't engage in debate and just a little bit of, if they're sort of weak and don't really take a position on anything, that just drives me completely crazy.
Speaking of crazy, thank you for the segue, because he never knows my questions. Speaking of crazy,
bring it on.
And driving people nuts,
yes,
I think we do that to Most Worshipful Bob. So,
that's fair.
Who do you think drives him nuts more between the two of us? The question is easy.
I believe me, because I spend more time with him. If he was with you more, he would...
No,
yeah,
he would not, because you talked about taking stances. You take a stance on something, whether you believe it or not, just to be a pain. That's how you roll. And let me just tell you, it drives me nuts. And we're
because most people just won't do that with you.
Don't make it just me. I've seen you do it. I've seen you walk. So enough of us. Let's go and grab Bob and bring him back on for episode
All right.
2.
Looking forward to it. Yes.
All right, we have Most Worshipful Bob back. We were debating off camera about Russ's previous answer, and Bob made a great point that you don't pick a side, you just pick a fight. Russ, so if you back it up, folks, I was right. So on this episode, we're talking about your Grand Lodge journey, okay? So did you ever serve as a district deputy? Or an area deputy?
No, great question. I did not, and that is a very typical path.
Right?
Did you know that?
As soon as you asked it, I sort of thought that this was going to be the answer, but I hadn't thought about it that much.
Was asked once or twice. The timing wasn't right. Kids in school and other functions, and a lot of work travel at the time. So was asked once or twice. The timing wasn't there, and never served. Never served.
Interesting.
Yeah, did travel a little bit with Dennis Roberts back in the day when he was district deputy, and a few others.
Shout out to Dennis Roberts. Dennis Roberts is one of the coolest guys.
Yes.
Shout out to Dennis. Not only is he one of the coolest guys, I'm going to say arguably, I think he has the coolest voice. It's a booming voice. We got to get him on.
Radio guy. For sure.
Let's do it.
Roberts is he has just got the voice. Okay, I digress. Sorry, Dennis. We miss you, dude.
Yeah. So getting back to the task at hand. So Grand Senior Deacon is the sort of the beginning of that Grand Lodge. So
it is.
Who asked you to partake?
Yeah, so it was Most Worshipful Michael Halloran. He was Grand Master in 2013, I believe. I probably am wrong on that, but only by a year or so. 2013, 2014. He had seen me on several committees. I'd kind of course, been in the ritualistic community for quite a while. That really was my entrance versus district deputy, area deputy. Mm-hmm. Michael Halloran, got to spend a lot of time with him, and he had asked me and was honored to serve, and the time fit with the family as well.
Did you have any hesitations when you were asked initially, or was it a no-brainer?
Just truckloads of them, right? So sure you do, right? You take it very serious, very heavyweight. Like I said, previous episode wrapped a little tight, right? So, I had, weighted charts and priorities and things I had to go through before I'd make the decision to do it. But time commitment was one. Definitely question, do I have the chops, right, to bring what the craft needs? That's definitely
move the needle,
right. Yeah, exactly.
I remember a couple of those Starbucks coffees.
I bet you do.
That, yeah.
I bet you do, right? But pleased that Michael at least saw a little bit of the opportunity that I may be able to bring to the table, or even if it's not, it doesn't always have to be foreshadowing great improvement, just maybe foreshadowing change. Change is good, right? So don't know what it was, but just delighted he saw that in me and had the opportunity to serve with him for the 1 year. That's the other thing I'll just mention. It's interesting. The guy who saw something in you, you only got 1 year with that guy,
Fair,
right?
that's a great point.
Which is interesting, right?
Yeah.
And then it's everyone else before and after you, right? So,
Interesting.
Yeah.
So what past Grand Master inspired you the most and why?
Oh, geez, yeah. That is not a single answer, guys, right? So I'll keep
Doesn't
it
have to
brief,
be.
right?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be at all, right?
Yeah.
So definitely for past Grand Masters, people that I looked up to that maybe had been long-standing, they were the longest out of the East, giving me counsel. Don Robinette is a super guy up in the northern part of the state, Jewell County, right? Definitely John Mowen is someone that will always be memorable to me. He was Grand Master in 1999, the year that I was Master of Pike. He came to Pike. He meant a lot, right? Since then, I've got to work a lot with him.
Do they call him the voice of God?
He
Yes,
is the
he is
voice.
the
Oh
voice
my
of-
goodness, right?
okay, he has a voice, yeah.
That's a
right,
voice.
absolutely. Other than that, appreciate everyone I got to work with in the Grand Line.
Those are
Of course,
top of mind. Though.
yeah, absolutely. So that's, Cole Presley and Kellerman and everyone since then, Gorham and Dale Morrow and Stoops and all those guys are great, right? There's one or two that at the right time maybe had the least interaction with them, but they had the nugget when you needed it the most. They had the boost to get you to the next level when you didn't think you'd get there, talking you off the ledge. Can't need them. Just once or twice, a comment or two. Got my head back where it needed to be on a couple of things, right? Tracy Bloom, the guy is just, he's an open door for anything that'll help you or help the fraternity.
Yeah,
right?
he is a true servant.
A lot of good guys. Soft answer because there's so many, but for different
fair,
reasons, right?
fair.
Yeah.
So, of your Grand Lodge positions, really starting from Grand Senior Deacon up, you probably all have something you're assigned to. Was there a particular position that you liked the least and why? We asked this a lot of Shrine guys, so was there one you liked the least and why?
Well, the one that I think I didn't enjoy, I wasn't good at, I didn't like right off the bat, was before I was assigned Grand Senior Deacon. I was Grand Orator for Glen Corps.
Okay.
Back in 2003, I think it was. And, everybody thinks, hey, these guys are leaders. They love to be in front of the mic, love to be on the podium speaking. Man, super introverted guy. I may know ritual, but don't like the front row. Don't like in front of the mic stuff here, right? It wasn't a comfort zone at all. And I struggled. Luckily, that was somewhat of a title in name, right? So it didn't call for that, but very uncomfortable when he asked me to be his Grand Orator. What I loved about it was, that was the first glimpse I had into the Grand Line. There's something above Albert Pike in my local lodge, right? And
So that
helped
was
me
your
get involved.
first time on the Grand.
Glen Corps appointed me as
line.
Grand Order. Sure
Okay.
was. Yep.
Nice.
Sure was.
Interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
So then, who did you select, pick, anoint as the Grand Senior Deacon?
Yeah, boy,
you?
what tribulations getting to that, right? So I was just pleased and proud to have appointed Mike Johnson, the current sitting Grand Master of AF and AM in Kansas. Super guy. Again, a bit of a process guy, right? I had weighted sheets and measures. I did interviews, right, with several candidates. For those of you who...
Man, he checks a lot of boxes.
Those of you that... doesn't he?
He really does.
Well, besides that, other than you, he's a good-looking Grand Master.
Well, there you go.
I'm comfort. Most Worshipful Johnson, you're a good-looking dude. I just want you to know that. So when you come here to sit in on the podcast, we've been chatting back and forth. I'm just going to let you know, a little bit of a man crush on you. You're my guy. I appreciate what you do. I'll just lay it out there. As a Mason and a man, I am comfortable. Mike Johnson, you're a good-looking dude.
We're actually going to be this weekend with him and others in Lindsborg, Kansas.
As should
at
you
the
and the rest of you,
Masonic
right?
Gala.
Gala,
Yes,
absolutely.
Gala.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
So as you see this, it won't be this weekend.
No,
it will be previous.
Yeah.
But there's a big to do in Lindsborg.
Lindsborg, Kansas.
There you go.
So
Yeah.
it's back to me now. If you were Grandmaster again, what would you do differently?
Yeah, geez, wouldn't be, right?
Just one thing. Just one thing. You got to pick one.
Totally hypothetical because would not be, right? I
Right.
have some strong feelings on that.
Yeah, for fair.
What would I do differently is the question.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, what would I do differently? Yeah, so you try to surround yourself by people you admire and respect that year. I think I had that. I think my understanding and knowledge of some of the bylaws and things that were presented at Grand Lodge. It's interesting. You need to understand you're playing to a large audience and people with a lot of needs and goals and agendas. And some, I would probably brush up more on some of the proposed bylaws that needed to pass that year. I mean, dig deep on them. Definitely, I did some rudimentary discovery. Yeah. But, it's interesting. You find out, even in Freemasonry, right? Hopefully, we're supposed to be above this. People may be presenting things that are a means to an end, not what's on the surface, right? So I wasn't the guy to really research the last 100 years of bylaws. There's some Grandmasters who have done that much better than I. So probably would do that. Just be a little prepared. Nothing bad or nefarious happened, but I missed the opportunity to learn and deep dive on our bylaws, where we are now, how we got there, right? And why some of the slightest changes could be impactful. Right, even slight changes. So, yeah.
So I think you addressed some of this on the last episode, but the question I have for you is, today in Masonry, what's the biggest challenge going forward?
Yeah, you're right. I think we touched on that.
Yeah.
I don't think we're the same planet with the same people. I think with some of the same struggles, right? It just has a little bit different hue on it as we go through different generations. I think men are looking for something, and I think the Masonry struggles sometimes getting that out there. This is what we can provide. It can change and fit your need. I think we tend to think very siloed on Masonry sometimes. If you join, you've got to be this officer line, and York Scottish Rite, York Shrine, you've got to do that. I think we need to check that a little bit and just present the tenets and let the people find their own way. So I think we struggle a little bit on marketing ourselves. We always have. Once we get in, we're not keeping members as active as we can. How do you do that? I don't know. That's what I need. Garth Bloom and I need Jim Hallberg and today's current masters to help us do, right? Is we're here to help, but we got to find ways to get to our current generation that are joining. Why are you joining, and how do we deliver that, right, without changing what Masonry is about? And it's been about for 300 years, right?
So that would almost be your magic wand too.
Same challenge.
Yeah, so.
We can get them in. How do we keep them? I think that's our biggest challenge, right? And I think that's been noted over the last year or so, especially, right? Getting in is tough, but we're getting them in, and we're letting some people leave the fraternity and not have really tested, kicked the wheels to see how it could fit them, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a big challenge.
So we know the answer to this, but we're going to tee it up. You have a grandson. Do you wish him to be a Master Mason one day?
Of course, I would absolutely love that. I'm definitely of a similar mindset of my father. I'm my father's son, I think, right? He was never pushed on me. I didn't even know what it was. I just know he put on a sport coat and went to lodge once a month, right? But I also know that everywhere we went, and we moved around some, he was in the nuclear power plant construction industry, right? When he found a community, he found out, how do I get engaged? How to become a vehicle of service to that community. I would love for him to be, if it fits. If it's not, there's other avenues where he can perform, but there will definitely be a Masonic conversation when the time comes right, to make sure he's aware that it's available to him to be the man he needs to be. Along with many other things, Masonry is available to him. So yeah, there'll be a conversation.
Nice.
Yeah.
So Russ and I, we had the privilege of being on your appointed Grand Lodge line. Now, Russ and I, we know how wound, as you've said, wound tight you are. And Russ and I like to challenge people for sport. Okay? For sport. So the question is, we're on the Grand Lodge line. Which one of us let you down the least? Because we both let you down. I couldn't even get it out, boys. But which one let you down the least?
Yeah, well, I've kind of been keeping this list for the last 4 or 5 years, right? So no,
I feel like I'm at a Pike thing now.
Yeah, which let me down the least. Well, so first of all, you both have so many strengths and opportunities. You let me down in such different ways, right? So it's hard to measure you apples and oranges when you both let me down in so many different ways. Yes. So I would just say
but we're good at it, yeah. I think.
So you're both you were both very aesthetically pleasing. You dress up nicely, which was needed at times, right? You can wear a collar and a gold chain. Thank you. Yep. You handled.
We're not going to make you answer that, but we will tell you this.
So
we had a great. Russ was the Grand Pursuivant, which is a driver.
Yes, and I have a story about driving.
Is it something we can share?
But I get to answer this.
Driving.
I get to answer this when you're done.
Yeah.
So we all traveled together to Lewis, Kansas to attend Lodge.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. And first of all,
love the Lewis.
Our
guys.
brothers in Lewis, the Lewis Mafia. We love you guys.
Yeah.
We drove out. Russ drove us out in the Grand Lodge limousine. Yes. And we sat down and broke bread with the Nelson family beforehand.
Yep.
And let me just tell you, they're in the cattle industry, and they must have cut their own damn steaks. These were unbelievable.
Yeah. Oh my gosh,
phenomenal.
And so we went to Lodge. We enjoyed some fellowship afterwards. Well, so we stayed at the Nelson house. I believe we all stayed upstairs.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So beautiful home. So we all stayed upstairs. I'm going to speak for me and no others. I was so worried about these two pulling some shenanigans that
it's a nervous now.
I moved over the dresser in front of the door so nobody could get in and mess with me. And I love my sleep, so nobody could mess with me in the middle of the night. So I will tell you, I guess I'm just projecting my feelings on everyone else because I don't know that they would have done anything. But were you guys nervous that night of shenanigans?
No.
Not at all.
Weren't?
Not at all.
Okay, well.
I didn't know you then. Yeah, I guess very well.
That's just me.
So, funny driving story. So, I drove the Grand Master to his second reception, which was out in Wallace, Kansas.
Great event.
And Wallace, Kansas, way out west.
Go to Colorado?
Yeah, and then come back.
A little bit. So,
at the time, he would have been illustrious Sir Mark Smith.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Hosted it out on his little ranch.
Absolutely.
So, on the way, as these two have pointed out, I might want to poke and argue a little bit. And so, at one point in time, I'm driving Bob. We're like at Russell, heading out on I-70 when we get into this heated debate, and the Grandmaster actually tries to kick me out of my own car while I'm driving down the highway. You stop this car right now and get out. I was like, dude, it's my car.
You weren't even in the Grand Lodge vehicle.
It's my own personal vehicle.
Is that a fairly accurate story?
That there's some truth to that.
Yes.
There is.
We're not going to talk about the topic.
No, it doesn't matter what the topic was.
Of course not.
He just was trying to kick me out of my own car.
That, let me just tell you, that I feel is an abuse of power because the Grandmaster tried to kick his driver out of his own damn car. That just feels like that's an abuse
get out.
of power.
There you go.
I love that so much.
Yeah, so I would say in letting me down, just congratulations. You're both winners. I appreciate you. And
we have to toast to that.
It was a great year.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, that's bad for us. All right, so Russ, you got a question before mine?
You bet. So, what are you doing at the Scottish Rite these days? What do you do there?
What do I do at the Scottish Rite? So, I've enjoyed the Scottish Rite from day one, 1993. Enjoy the ritual, the ceremonies. So I am currently the director of the work. Was pleased to work with Scott Kaler through the years. I think even Jack Putnam a little bit assisted there, and then Scott Kaler, and then Ron Van Etten, and then we had somewhat hoped or planned if it worked out. Once I finished my Grand Lodge duties a couple years ago, I would try to help and. this seems to be the place I enjoy the most. So I'm director of the work, which basically definitely the reunions, the degree work during the spring and fall reunions, a few of the other events during the year. Try to put those on. That's the Monday, Thursday service, and a few other services we do. So I enjoy that very much. So director of the work.
Cool.
Definitely love performing the ritual and a cast member. I've stepped away from that, trying to figure out how to do both. I'm needing an assistant director of the work so someone can take over 1 or 2 of the degrees so I could get back on the floor in costume and do some rituals. So I wanted to put that plug in there.
Like it.
There you go.
All right.
We need a pretty person to do that, by the way. So
The final question.
Thank goodness.
Which one goes, right? So Bob threw us off last time. So you do some hunting.
I enjoy upland bird hunting very much.
You go to the lake. You do Brothers Weekend. So
Yep.
So up on the screen, you have fishing, you have hunting, bird, whatever, any fish, any hunting, boating, and snow skiing. Which one goes forever and why? And I know I get this one.
I know.
You think you do, huh? Okay.
Don't try to be honest. Don't try to throw us off.
I'm not going to throw you off, so it's easy. Love hunting, right? I have never snow skied, but could love sports there. Boating would be fine. Fishing, I enjoy some, but when you catch fish, there's work there. You clean it and fish it. So since you know it, you can just say it when I say it. Skiing.
Yeah.
Wow, there you go.
You wouldn't have said that. You wouldn't have said that.
Skiing?
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Oh,
never-
yeah. Because when he
Never
started
skied.
to talk about fishing and work, get on skis. That's a little bit
So
of work.
for you, Russ, what would it be out of
Skiing.
this?
I'd kick skiing.
So for me, my wife would kick out skiing. She hates cold weather. I caught one fish in my life. I was 35 years old. I caught it just to say I caught one. Didn't enjoy it. Fishing, not for me. Skiing, I could do lots of things with skiing. Hunting, we're in the military. You just hunt bad guys down, shoot them in the face.
Right.
So I don't.
Well, there we go.
Fishing, not for me. So that's all that we have.
Okay.
For this podcast.
Enjoyed
Thank you
this.
for doing 2 of them.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Cheers. Don't forget to
to
like,
see you.
follow us, and subscribe. We got lots more going. Thanks.